Welcome to this edition of Cibola Treasures. I'm Barbara Wesley, your host, and we are so glad you're joining us today, so stay tuned. The first on this edition is Sacred Wind Communications. Internet, I guess it's called 66 Internet Connect, and they are unveiling the native baskets that are going to be lined all along Route 66 here in Cibola County. And then John Easton is interviewing Monty, I believe the last name is Newman. Anyway, he's interviewing him. And then Ron Gonzalez with the library is here. There's so many fabulous things that are happening at our library this summer. Things every single day of the week, except Sunday, that is available at the Grants Library. So stay tuned. El Cafecito has been serving authentic New Mexican cuisine for over 32 years. The first thing that greets you is the fragrant aroma of chili.
The friendly and efficient staff welcome you to a dining experience that can only be found in Grants. Try the award-winning burrito, red, green, or maybe you want Christmas.
Do you need a chili fix? You will not be disappointed. There's so many great choices.
What sets El Cafecito apart is the made fresh chili every day.
Oh, I come here for the breakfast burrito, which is very good. Service is good, fast. When you're hungry, you're ready to eat.
A banquet room is designed for meetings, special occasions, and community events.
For those in a hurry, the drive-up window offers convenience too.
The service, friendly staff, great New Mexican cuisine is all due to Angela and Larry Baca. They oversee every aspect of El Cafecito. We want to welcome you to this very special event. Our guest today is John Vidal with Sacred Wind Communications. And John, this is a big day for you and Sacred Wind Communications as well. So tell our audience what you're planning and all the things that we're doing and what's going to happen here in just a little while.
Well, thank you, Barbara. Yeah, we're a company that likes to fit in with the community and contribute to the growth and quality of life of a community. And one of the things I think we found different in the Grants Milan area than elsewhere is that the history and the culture of this area is very steeped in art and tradition, and going back to Puebloan culture, Chaco and Chaco culture, Laguna, Acoma, and whatnot. And so when we had an opportunity to dispose of some satellite dishes, I thought, what a perfect match if we could use these satellite dishes to depict the art of this area. And for that we see, again, we have a hickory basket here that is wrapped on top of a satellite dish. And so our plan is to rim old Route 66 through Grants and Milan with these satellite dishes that we are calling now Native Basket Array. And we think this is going to become part of the arts culture and the historic culture of the area.
Okay, so I know that you're also an artist.
Oh, thank you.
And so, as you were coming up with this, where did you get this idea to do such a fabulous display?
Well, I guess it's that there is. I don't know if I call myself an artist as just a schlock painter, but we painters, I guess, are constantly finding images in things that other people may not. And when I saw the satellite dish, thinking, what are we going to do with some used satellite dishes that we were acquiring, rather than throwing them in a landfill? I thought, these are the shape of Indian baskets. So let's make some art out of these things, and I think it's going to play out very well for the community.
Well, I do too. Finding wedding baskets. There was a place near, I'm trying to think, it's in just below the Arizona line in New Mexico. And finding a wedding basket, you had to travel way out into the country to this little trading post, and they still had one lady that was making these ceremonial baskets, and you can't find those anymore. They're all old, and they're historic pieces, but finding new ones for collectors that might still want some of these, and this would encourage some of those artists to be out there creating their craft.
I haven't thought about that, and again, who knows what this would lead to in generating or stimulating more art in town and more handcraft.
That's right. I recall I was at Zuni one time, and there was this lady that was actually creating a basket. She had gone out to a specific place, and they had found this very special a grass of some type, and she was demonstrating how to make a basket.
Yes.
So, and this has been maybe 20 years ago, so who's doing it now?
Exactly, and I encourage everybody watching this video to drop by the New Mexico Mining Museum here in Grants and look at some of the old baskets here. A Chacoan basket, it's almost 1,000 years old, I understand, is depicted on another satellite dish down the road.
Right. Well, we're excited about this ribbon cutting today. Come on down, take a look at all this, and then our streets are going to be lined with this from all throughout Cibola County.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for joining us to help us celebrate, I think, a bright, beautiful day here in Grants, New Mexico. We're here to kick off an art project that I believe, or I'd like to say, goes well beyond even the arts community. This speaks to the culture of Grants, Cibola County itself, and I think it promotes the arts. We're hoping to promote tourism with this native basket array project, and we think it'll even help improve the quality of life in attracting different businesses, culturally oriented businesses, art-oriented businesses. Before I go on, though, I would like to welcome and introduce several people that you need to know who have been intimately involved in this project from day one. We have formed a native basket array working committee, and that has been led by Robert Gallegos with the Cibola Arts Council and Adriana Bedell. And we have Eileen Yarborough on the committee, and Gilbert Gilbert Wakanda of the Laguna Pueblo on the committee. We've also had very strong collaboration and cooperation from the city of Grants and the village of Milan, and most especially Tammy Legler with the Grants Chamber of Commerce. And with us today we also have Public Regulation Commissioner Linda Lovejoy and Robert Windhorse.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Commissioner. Very good. Thank you for joining us. It's good to have you here. And again, what I really enjoy about working in this area and bringing our company and increasing our activity in this area is that the Grants Milan, I found, is a very tight-knit community with people who are ready to say, yes, we can do this. And this is something that I think Sacred Wind has found very rewarding for us. On the subject of Sacred Wind, we are a telephone company that has brought Connect 66 broadband here to this area. Again, even carrying in the name of the company the history of this area. And I want to introduce several employees we have with Sacred Wind, and you'll see them as Sacred Wind and Connect 66, that you'll see them from time to time around the community. We have Kim Kirk and Adner Palma from our Yate office. We have Catherine Nicolau and Misty Willick from our Albuquerque office. Did I say Albuquerque or Yate? Yate, good, thank you. Anyway, with that, again, thank you for all joining us. I don't know where this is going to go from here, this satellite project, the native basket project, but this could take wings and go in several different directions. And with the public support like yours, it could just blossom. So thank you. I'd like to introduce now Robert Gallegos. I didn't introduce Laura Armillo, City Manager for Grants, who was key in getting all the permits for this possible. Thank you.
Along with introducing various folks, we do have Councilor Manny Vasquez and also Councilor Fred Padilla right over here. And and City Manager Laura Jaramillo. I'd like to start with just a little background on how this was started. Early in December of 2017, Randy Collins, who is my board president with Cibola Arts Council, and I were invited to have dinner with John and Adriana. John was discussing an art project involving the repurposing of satellite dishes to create images of Native American baskets, which would be used to attract tourists along our stretch of Route 66 in Grants and Milan. It's not often that one can collaborate with individuals who possess a rare combination of vision, creativity, and generosity. Thank you, John and Adriana. I would also like to thank Native Basket Array Committee members, Tammy Legler, Eileen Yarborough, Gilbert Wakanda, Adriana Badal. The Native Basket Array Committee will be meeting soon to implement a call going out to Native artists for original work that will grace the baskets to be placed along the array. Sacred Wind has decided to ease the burden on artists by asking for original paintings on structures of their choice, canvas, masonite, wood, etc., no less than 12 by 12 inches and no more than 24 inches, or 24 by 24. After receiving the paintings, the committee will choose from the work of those artists who will be selected to paint images on the satellite dishes. Of course, this image here of the Apache basket and one down the street these are taken from photographs and then wrapped. And so the ones that'll be coming will all be original pieces of art. I think it's going to look fantastic. I'd like to thank the City of Grants for allowing this opportunity. Mayor Hicks and of course City Manager Laura Jaramillo were particularly responsible for seeing the possibilities of this project before I even made a presentation to the governing body in March. I also need to thank the Cibola Arts Council Board of Directors for their willingness to support this project. In closing, I'd like to quote Helen Keller, who said, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision." Thank you.
Thank you guys for being with us today to celebrate the unveiling of our installation and our ribbon cutting. Today marks the example of how proud members of the Chamber, like local talents as the Cibola Arts Council, Connect 66 Internet, powered by Sacred Wind Communications, Cibola Community Economic Development Foundation, and the City of Grants, who have pulled together to capitalize on the strengths of our community to be more attractive and to increase our quality of life here. Who knows what other kind of creativity this will inspire for our community, like attracting more tourists and artists to our area, and maybe even more overnight stays in our community. We look forward to other partnerships in our membership to continue our efforts in making Grants the adventure destination in Northwest New Mexico. On behalf of the Grants Cibola County Chamber of Commerce and the New Mexico Mining Museum, we would like to thank each of you for being here with us to celebrate. Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to call up our esteemed bench here, and we'll cut the ribbon. Thank you. Yes.
Wait.
Cut that microphone cord. Okay. Linda, why don't you join us, please? Both of you. Yeah, you hold the top.
I like the array of blues.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Thank you.
Fast, reliable internet is here, and it's local.
My name is Robert Windhorst. When my wife went back to school to become a teacher, our internet service was terrible. Sacred Wind came into our area and we signed up. It is great service.
Hi, I'm Amanda Valdez and I am a teacher. Thinking of pursuing my master's degree, I knew that it couldn't have been possible before. Sacred Wind Internet made it possible to obtain my degree online.
Connect 66 Internet. Fast, reliable, and local. Powered by Sacred Wind.
Good day. This is John Easton. I'm going to be your host here this morning. It's an exciting day at Seven Cities Productions. I have an old friend with me in the studio, Monty Newman, who is running for Congress. Really, it's been a real pleasure to have him just pop in on his way through town here, and I was able to convince him to come in and sit down. I don't, as you know, I've been kind of retired from doing interviews for a while, but this is so exciting to me. He's just an exciting person, and people that mean something to me in life and are on a positive note. Monty Newman's a guy. He really is, and he has a lot of plans for a future in New Mexico when he is in office. Just a little bit about you, Monty. Can you kind of how and you decided to do this? Where you've been a little bit? Tell the people.
I sure will. Thanks, John. And it's a real pleasure to be with you this morning. And I want to tell you that everyone, I'm sure, appreciates your service over these years of bringing messages and the excitement of hope and prosperity and liberty and independence to a marketplace. I know is something that people look forward to and appreciate. So congratulations to you.
Right.
As well. Vicki and I have lived in Hobbs for 40 years. Been married for 43. Have 2 great sons. Both are grown and well accomplished. Run a small business for 30 years. I've owned my own company, so I've employed people, I've borrowed money, I've done all the things that a business owner has to do. And so I understand what it's like to own a business. I understand what it's like when things aren't going well, and then I also know what it's like when things are going well. So I can relate to that very well. Been on the Board of Trustees for New Mexico Junior College, was there for 9 years, chairman of the board for 7. I've been a city commissioner. I've been a mayor, an elected mayor. I've also held some of the highest offices that you can hold within my trade association, the National Association of Realtors, on a national level. And I've also been the state party chairman for the Republican Party. And so when Steve decided to exit the race, Vicki and I sat down and discussed this very prayerfully. We believe it's an important position to hold. Steve's done an outstanding job in this seat. and we want to make sure that we carry it forward in the with the attitude and the exuberance and the excitement of a Skeen and Pierce. And I believe I can do that. So we decided to get in the race, and so I'm here with you today.
Right. There are so many people that are successful in business out there, and they're taking care of their families, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're with their families and taking care of business. And it's really very rare that you'll find somebody that is successful on that level that can find time. To find the time to go out into the community and say, now, what can I do to help my community? How can I help it to grow?
Well, you know, I think it's imperative and it's important that business leaders in their community do something outside just their business. I think it's important that you give back to a community that's given so much to you.
Yes.
And when really good people run, great ideas emerge, great debate emerges. Those things are good for society, and they're good for the public. It creates a vision and an attitude of where you want to go. I know when I was mayor, I put down, I made an acronym called HIRE, and I know it's not spelled correctly, but it was HIRRE. And I knew that if housing was right, if industry was right, if regional retail was right, if regional medical was right, and if education was right, my community would be a growing and thriving community. And as mayor, we focused on all those elements. And I believe that anytime you take office or anytime you involve yourself, it's important that when you take that seat, that when you leave that seat, you leave it better than what you found it. And I expect the person that follows me to leave it better than they found it. And the next one to leave it better than they found it. When we do those things, we solve a lot of problems within our own communities. And when we can create an atmosphere within our communities where we're independent, where we become self-sufficient to a large degree, that means there's less dependence upon the federal government. That means you get to control your life rather than the federal government controlling it. And too often in New Mexico, we've allowed the federal government to have a real strong influence in the direction of the state of New Mexico. And I believe in private industry, I believe in liberty, I believe in personal responsibility. And I think when we incorporate those three foundations of a conservative point of view, we'll find that not only will our communities do better, but we'll have a much stronger and better nation as well.
Yes. Cibola County, that's one of the main reasons why I come out of my little closet to come back over here to interview you. And not only myself, the whole county, we're hurting here economically, and you're bringing in, innovative new things and whatnot, and but it's the whole state too, and people are graduating from college and going on to other states, and we've helped pay for their education and whatnot. So it's going to take a team. It's not just one person. It takes a whole team to get industry back into New Mexico again, and especially our poor little impoverished Cibola County. And that's one of the reasons why I brought you in here. This is the second time now. When Gary Johnson was, I had a T-shirt on that says "Democrats for Gary Johnson."
Mm-hmm.
I was a registered Democrat.
Yes, sir.
And here I am with another Republican again this time, because I was raised where it's the man and not the party. But the party is good. It's good to have the two parties. You got to have that. Even in real estate, competition is healthy for you.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when our founding fathers were deciding whether or not to declare their independence, there was really two decisions to make. One, you either continue to negotiate with the King of England, or you declare your independence.
Yes.
Those were the two fundamental questions that were on the floor to debate. And I can tell you, we're sitting here today, and I'm most grateful that those men that decided to declare their independence and sign that declaration did so, knowing full well that two things potentially would happen: that they would lose all their wealth and most likely lose their life. And because of that commitment, you and I are sitting here today.
Yes.
You know, a person's life is defined, in my opinion, by their faith. I think that sets your core values of who you are. I was a Christian at the age of 12, been a member of the Church of Christ all of my life. I've taught Sunday school in just about every age group you can imagine. And I still teach class when I'm home and have the opportunity and when asked. It's something I thoroughly enjoy doing. I also know that the cornerstone for my life is my family. Because I've always believed, even in business, if things aren't good at home, they're not going to be good at the job. When things are good at home, it can be bad at the job, and life can still be good.
Yes.
And so I believe family is absolutely paramount. When you look at the state of New Mexico in Cibola County, counties and cities need to start asking their state government, what are you doing to make us competitive with other states around us? And if they can't answer that question, then there ought to be a significant change. There's been plenty of time under Democratic control and philosophy to change the direction of the state of New Mexico, and that has not happened. And it's time it does. Because you have too many people living in poverty, too many communities like Cibola County and Grants that are struggling economically, where we are in fact losing some of the best and brightest out of our high schools and our university systems to other states.
I would like to change the subject here a little bit. When you are in Washington, what are the 3 things that you're really going to want to address?
Well, the 3 things I'm going to focus on, because I believe strongly in them. Number 1 is I think we have to deal with the immigration issue, the illegal immigration issue in the country. We've basically not done anything on that for years, going almost all the way back to Ronald Reagan. Next thing is we've got to find a way to secure our borders. What's happening on the southern border is not acceptable to a society like America. Now, immigrants are important to this country. Most all of us are at some point in time in our history. So I'm pro-immigration. I'm pro-merit-based. I think it needs to be merit-based. I think chain migration needs to stop. I think the visa lottery system needs to stop. But we need to fix our immigration policies in this country. The next thing is I do think we need to build a border wall where it makes sense. And I think there are bright enough people to tell us where that will be and what type of wall needs to be built. Do I think it will solve all issues? No, I do not. But do I think it will cut down on the number of issues that we're facing today? Yes, I do. And if we get to the point where we will in fact enforce our laws and have a clear direction as a country, we'll be able to mitigate the problem that we've created over these years. And we've created this. And we're going to pay a price for it. And I think it may turn out to be one of the greatest social and economic issues this country will probably face in my lifetime.
We're kind of running a little bit short on time here. Okay. So what I'd like to address this time is, what do you think makes you most qualified?
I think it's the breadth and depth of my experience. I think when you look at my family, and Vicki and I being married for 43 years, my business activity for over 30 as far as ownership, my relationship as far as being a mayor of a city, my time sitting on a board of trustees for a community college, the national stage with the National Association of Realtors. I believe all these things add to the breadth and depth of my experience and ability. And I want to take those experiences to Washington, D.C. and work on behalf of the people of the 2nd Congressional District. I believe I can do that.
Yes. And as mayor, you also had a council underneath you?
I did.
That you had to work with?
I did.
And did your community, do you feel that it kind of grew from your little circle of government there?
I believe that it did, and I think we can demonstrate that. I think if people come to Hobbs, we can walk you through what this group of commissioners and a mayor were able to do on behalf of their citizens. And I'm very, very proud of the accomplishments of that commission. And you're right, it doesn't take one person. It takes a number of people. But it takes a vision. Mm-hmm. And then working towards that vision, supported by a group of people that believe in the same vision you have, and you can accomplish great things. This country's a testament to that.
Oh, yeah. Look at, say, Mr. Green with Hobby Lobby. He started off with one store, and after he got to where he was successful with that, he was able to go on and build a whole a chain of stores, and the same with Sam Walton with right. Walmart. That and you've gone through, you've learned a lot. It's up in here and it's in here.
That's right.
And you have no other agenda than, at your age, you don't need to smoke bigger cigars, drink more expensive scotch, and chase women or nothing. You're out there to be there for the community.
I'm going to work. I'm not going to fight. I will fight for issues I believe in, but at the end of the day, when we're fighting, we're not working. And when we're not working, we're not accomplishing things for the American people. I'm going to do my best to accomplish things for the people of the state of New Mexico and this great country in which we all are able to call home.
Yes. Well, we're running out of time here now, but I do thank you for coming in here. It's been a real pleasure to see you again, and I wish you'd really consider, if you haven't heard enough here, then just watch what's going on out there. Follow his campaign, and I'd just like to see you vote for Monty Newman for Congress. And I just bless you all. You all have a good week.
Warrior Pegboard will transform your workshop or garage to a clean, uncluttered space. Warrior Pegboard is the strongest pegboard in the world. Holds up to 2,500 pounds on a single panel. The hooks will not fall out. What you will need: select the size, anchor to a stud, admire your handiwork. Warrior Pegboard's strong, sparkling appearance was designed by a veteran. Each piece of your Warrior Pegboard system is made in America. For sizes, prices, and shipping information, just select Warrior Pegboard at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, Jet.com, or DiscountRamps.com. For wholesale, military, and government sales, contact John Wesley.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. In our studio today is Ron Gonzalez, and we've got a comedian here in our midst, so that's why we're chuckling a little bit. But Ron, tell our audience, if they don't already know, what your role is in the community.
I am primarily the Grants Public Library Director. I've been now 2 years as a director, and very proud of that.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun, huh?
It sure does.
Okay.
I'm proud to say I still love being active in the community and working with teens and just being out there.
Good. Well, you and I go a long way back.
Indeed.
Because you were at the high school when we started a media project out there.
That's right.
And so you were really instrumental in getting that project up and going. And since that time, though, your role changed to other responsibilities at the high school. Mm-hmm. And then you came on board at the Mother Whiteside Library.
Right.
And so now you're at what library?
Well, it's the Grants Public Library. And there have been some questions about the name change. And I think if you start with Laura Jaramillo, our city manager, there was a feeling in her and really amongst all of us that this being a new building, a new everything, really.
Right.
Mother Whiteside has not been left behind. Her name still adorns the old library, which is now the Cibola Historical Society.
Right.
So the name lives on, but we are sort of a new entity, and that's why if you hear us refer to it as the Grants Public Library and not the Mother Whiteside Library, that's the reason.
Well, recently I picked up 2 people that were hiking the Continental Divide Trail. They were from Germany, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I said, I picked them up just down the street, and I said, where are you going? And they said, we're going to the library.
Oh.
And evidently they had been hiking through town and were headed to the library to check on whatever they needed to check on. Mm-hmm. So when we pulled in, she's, oh, it's so big for this little town.
Yeah.
That was the comment that was made.
Yeah.
But it's quite impressive.
You know, you're right, the building is impressive. You come inside, you see, you cannot help but be impressed. We as a staff are impressed with the response we've gotten from the community. I don't want to bore you with numbers, but we've doubled everything. Circulation, people walking in. We are operating at a pace that it's a breakneck pace, but so as impressed as the community is with our building and what we do, we are equally impressed with the response, and it makes us strive for more.
Well, you know, every time I pass, I see so many cars there. You know, 8, 12, 15 cars there, at all times of the day, starting early in the morning and going on.
That's right.
And so the purpose of our visit today is to let the public know all the things that are going on this summer.
Okay, great.
So let's start with the Rocky Mountain Puppet in the courtyard. What's that all about?
So last summer we had the Rocky Mountain Puppets in the library. They were actually, it's a very talented ventriloquist, female ventriloquist. She's from Denver, Colorado, and she was very popular in the library last year. We're trying something a little different this year. She's coming back, but we're actually hosting our first ever evening performance. We had some feedback from parents that said, I would have loved to have brought my kids to such and such and this and that, and this time we thought, let's give it a try. So for a kickoff event for summer reading, we have the Rocky Mountain Puppets in our courtyard, 6 p.m. June 8th.
And that brings up another topic. You just mentioned that word, reading. I have a passion for books and reading.
Yes.
And you do too.
Absolutely.
And so many of our youngsters are on their cell phones all the time instead of reading. And, you know, I believe that you can travel, if you don't have the money to travel, you can travel all over the world in a book.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
My daughter loved horses from the time she was a wee little girl. And a friend of ours had given her a book about the Chincoteague ponies off of the coast of Virginia.
Okay.
Okay? And so she loved that book, and then she started reading more about horses. We went out to a stable one day. She gets on that horse and she knows everything she needs to know about how to make it go, and we're left behind. And I'm thinking, she's just a little girl, wait for us, you know. But she learned by reading. Someone else I know learned to bowl. They got a bowling book. They used big soup cans to imitate the motion, and they belonged to a bowling team and won prizes, but they learned how to bowl from a book.
Sure, sure.
So there's so many things that you can learn by reading, plus the pleasure of reading.
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of our summer efforts are geared towards children. One of the reasons is obviously that, you know, even without the summer reading program, we check out a lot of books to children. Second to adult fiction, it's the section that moves the most. So we are happy. We're very happy anyway with that. And we've pumped lots of new titles into that area to keep in touch with the kids who still love reading. So I think as they get a little older, they might leave reading behind for other handheld devices. But you know, if we can contribute that, if we can keep kids reading through the summer as they get older, and then maybe at some point, you know, they're proficient enough to pass those tests, and we hopefully instill a lifelong reading in them.
That's right. Well, there's so many things that reading does for us. It can be a retreat.
Oh, I know.
From, you know, if there are things you just need to get away from for a while, reading can do that. It can be a source of consolation. It can be a source of even meditation.
True.
You know?
True.
So there's so many things that reading does for us that other things don't do.
Absolutely.
Now, last year you had a group that brought in a trailer. Now, I don't guess it's mentioned for this particular month. It's July, right? Or
actually, it's in August.
August.
You're talking about the big bus, the mobile museum.
Right, the
Yes.
mobile. That was quite an impressive time. They spent what, a whole day here, or
they did.
Yes, and we went in and we saw youngsters there studying and looking at all these things that were science related.
Right.
And that was exciting.
It was, and that really speaks to what I was saying a moment ago, is that if we catch these kids when they're still interested in learning, then we can just feed that and just sort of feed that passion. Sure. This year, that same museum's coming. They'll be here on August I think, you know, we haven't solidified that date, But this year, though, the display will deal with the tribes of New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
So they'll get in there. They'll be able to see artifacts from every tribe that has ever existed in New Mexico. So, boy, what a piece of history to be here in our little town. Of course,
Sure.
our rich Native American history here. But I love these kinds of things that can turn into even empowering moments. If you are a Native American child, or even if not, but point being, to learn that history and to know how important it was to New Mexico and to here, Cibola County, it's empowering.
It is. You know, when I was with the Elder Hostel program, I went out to Chaco Canyon every couple of weeks. And I noticed that one of the new baskets out here on Santa Fe Avenue is from the Chaco Canyon era. And so that culture of our state, what do we have, 24 tribes?
I want to say 23.
Okay, I'm close.
It's in the title of the
Okay.
mobile museum.
Anyway, we've got all these tribes with this phenomenal history right at our fingertips.
Absolutely.
And when I was working with some folks at Acoma, they had never been to Chaco Canyon, and those are their ancestors.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But we need to encourage not only learning about what we have in our state, but also developing reading about them.
That's true. Teachers in school do their part in trying to interest children in these kinds of things, and that's a tough go, to be sure, but the more and more we treat it as interesting and fun and worthwhile, the more we can hope that they will accept those and get in there and check them out.
That's true. Well, now you've got New Mexico State Library Ancient Lifeways. What's that all about?
That is June 14th. It's one of the first other programs we have. And it is similar to the mobile museum, but this will take place in our courtyard. And so anyone stopping in here again will see some ancient artifacts and be able to mingle with the presenter from the State Library. And so here again, another glimpse into our past, and hands-on activities and things that people can just walk in off the street and see.
Good. Well, we need to take a quick break, but we'll be right back because we have sponsors that we need to acknowledge. But don't go away because we have got a month, in fact, our whole summer filled with great activities. So stay tuned. El Cafecito has been serving authentic New Mexican cuisine for over 32 years. The first thing that greets you is the fragrant aroma of chili.
The friendly and efficient staff welcome you to a dining experience that can only be found in Grants. Try the award-winning burrito, red, green, or maybe you want Christmas.
Do you need a chili fix? You will not be disappointed. There's so many great choices.
What sets El Cafecito apart is the made fresh chili every day.
Oh, I come here for the breakfast burrito, which is very good. Service is good, fast. When you're hungry, you're ready to eat.
A banquet room is designed for meetings, special occasions, and community events.
For those in a hurry, the drive-up window offers convenience too.
The service, friendly staff, great New Mexican cuisine is all due to Angela and Larry Baca. They oversee every aspect of El Cafecito. Well, welcome back. We have Ron Gonzalez with the Grants Public Library, and we have our summer is filled with all of these activities that are going on at the library.
That's right.
So we've got a double header, a movie night, movie day, 2 movies, 10 and 2. Are they the same movie or 2 different ones?
In the morning at 10, we'll offer a movie that we call more G-rated we figure the youngsters, the little ones, get up early and they're ready to go. And later we'll offer something, of course, family-oriented that the older kids might be interested in, and even their moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas.
Super. And then you've got, it looks like Friday is the movie day.
Friday is the movie day. It's a low cost, actually no cost for anyone offering, and it just brings people in, and we want to see people in the library every day.
And then you've got arts and crafts.
Well, we've had so many questions about that makerspace room, which really makerspace is a fancy word for a place where we might work with robots, we might do arts and crafts in there, but every Thursday people can come in and we'll do some kind of craft program. My assistant Nita Ford is just so gifted with these things, and she and my other assistant Jean Ann Clemens will lead kids or whomever wants to show up. There's some arts and crafts fun, and we have that one room dedicated where they can comfortably work and get something made.
I see you've got a technology hour here.
That's right.
And what is that all about?
So every Tuesday, I keep name dropping my assistants, which, by the way, I couldn't even be sitting here if it weren't for my incredible staff. My other assistant, Peter Klumpenhauer, he has an affinity for our new 3D printer. He wants to show it. He wants to show it off, and he wants to help people, make things. So we'll be playing with the 3D printer. We've got a green screen. You're familiar with green screens. They're that children or whomever could use for their video projects. So on Tuesdays at 10 and 2, we'll be there again in the maker room, playing with the 3D printer, playing with the green screen, and just playing.
And then who's this Yo-Yo Man?
He too is another real popular performer that actually we've had now for several years in a row. And I never learned how to
do a yo-yo.
But I recognize it as something that kids see being done, and they think, how could he do that? The Yo-Yo Man is quite skilled at what he does, and so what he will do is he'll bring a trick sheet that kids can try on their own, and of course he just dazzles the crowd with his yo-yo tricks.
Well, growing up in the 40s, a yo-yo was really a popular little game.
Sure.
And people learned how to walk the dog, and I've forgotten some of the other things that they know how to do.
Well, you're going to have to come see the Yo-Yo Man, because he'll show you things that maybe you didn't know existed.
Right.
Tricks.
I'm sure he did. And then you've got story time. That's such a special thing.
It just is. And again, going back to Miss Ford, my assistant, she has, through the years, developed a real... actually, what we try to do with those, Barbara, and you'll appreciate this as a proponent for literacy, is we try to not only read to the kids, but have them repeat words to us. We try to get them involved in some movement. So we're really looking at it as a chance to light up all those measures of literacy: the talking, the listening, the body movements, all those things that contribute to good literacy. That's what we try to do with those.
Good. Well, there are 4 components, if I can remember them all. One is listening, develop active listening skills.
Right.
The next is to repeat what you heard. Then the next is to read and write about what you heard or read. If you put all of those 4 things together, the comprehension level of that youngster goes way up.
Absolutely, and we are trying to have fun. But little do these little ones know we're slipping in literacy aspects in there, and ultimately, though we are having fun, we think maybe we can also make a difference, albeit a small one.
And I see in July you've got Science of Sound.
Right.
Now we have someone here that was once a disc jockey.
Okay.
But his ability to put sound together when he drops in those the music beds, and his ability to function. I tune into public radio, and there's one program where the music is so loud you can't hear the speaker. There's a fine balance between having that subtle music there,
truly,
and being able to hear.
Right.
And so the Science of Sound, that sounds like a really interesting program too.
I think the basis for this program is really to start at the beginning. How do sounds travel? How do microphones work? How do wavelengths, different wavelengths behave, and things like that? So children will be banging things and they'll be looking at those things, and who knows, if they develop a keen ear for sound, in something like this, they could end up,
that's right,
who knows doing what with it. But there again, just another fun and free activity for people to come on in for.
So we've got magician Tall Paul.
That's
Tell
right.
us about this guy.
So he, again, another sort of recent favorite. He does lots of tricks. It's a very interactive thing. He truly is a magician in that true sense of the word. So he's just fun and always brings a great crowd. So we feel him getting in the courtyard this time. Who knows how many people we can pack in there for his performance.
Okay.
So that's coming up.
And then the Isotopes mascot is coming to town.
Orbit. We don't know if it's a he or a she or an it, but
Okay.
what we're trying to do again is connect his visit or its visit to some kind of literacy event. So we've invited the Grants baseball team, the Grants High School baseball team, to last year they performed Casey at the Bat for us. And so we were able to connect baseball and reading all together. It was our own version. I hope they'll be back. We plan on inviting the Grants High softball team to help us out. So we want to make it a big event. That's July 31st.
Now, my mother was a school teacher, and one of the things she did not permit in the house were comic books, right? But I had a cousin that had stacks of comic books. So when I got to go and visit him, I got to read comic books.
Nice.
And you've got 7000 BC Comics Workshop. What is that?
So that's August 1st. I'm pleased to offer it. I'll first say that regarding comic books, there's a big movement within libraries now. It's for graphic novels, which really is a fancy way of saying it's a comic. And
that's right.
There are visual representations. They often do center on superheroes and villains. But, as a former language arts teacher, and you might agree that if kids are reading anything, then they're reading, and there might be this sort of stigma attached to them. But I can actually say that, for example, Watchmen is a very popular graphic novel. And I would dare an adult to read through it. It's a tough read. So there are challenges to be had in graphic novels. Parents, sorry about that. If your kids come home with graphic novels, I think it's a good thing. But this presentation I'm really excited about because budding artists out there, comic book artists, will actually get to be trained by established comic book artists. They will show them how to set up, I'm not sure of the terminology, their own comic, how the writing comes into play, how to draw certain characters. So it truly is a comic book workshop.
Well, I see another aspect of this. We have a huge group that attend NMSU, and they're into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is part of gaming.
It sure is.
Because
there is a connection there.
If you can design that animation for that game, what you're doing is really doing this same type of technology that you're doing with comic books, right?
Right, and there's a connection too if you want to look at the future of technology, the future of jobs. Graphic novels are, as I said, very popular, and so maybe a child says, hey, there's a career in this for me. And so there's so many implications about what you could do with that kind of training.
That's true. Well, we've just about to close up our time, but I'm looking at your schedule for the summer. How can someone get your schedule if they were to go online to get it?
There are two places. One is our website at the City of Grants page, and it's simply cityofgrants.net/library. We also tend to communicate a lot through our Facebook page.
Okay.
So if you are on Facebook and you type in Grants Public Library, you should come up and see it. We post pictures of kids that come around, and that really is a good place to interact with us too. And so through either of those means, people can pick this information up or stop on in at 1101 North 1st and pick one up.
Okay. Well, you've got an exciting summer scheduled for our youngsters, but you also have a huge group of adults that come every day.
That's true. We do, and a lot of the adults we see are some are there to sort of let their kids, wander around, but there's just as many that come in and are reading. I mentioned a moment ago that the biggest sort of seller, if you will, in the library is adult fiction. So plenty of adults are coming to see us, and it's a great mix of the, I don't want to say old, the young and the more mature, I guess you could say.
Well, looking at the building from the outside, we've said is impressive. But when you get into the building and you start going down those aisles, seeing what you've got as far as computers, when you look at your book selection, when you look at all the things that are there, that is really impressive.
Well, thank you. And it's been some work. In 2 years we are monitoring industry trends. We're looking at any possible way to get people in, and that does mean buying new books and feeding the desires of our patrons. So it's been a good 2 years, and I feel like we're just getting started, really.
I know. Well, I look forward to what's going to happen in the fall. We'll have you back.
Thank you.
Then, but I want to thank you, our audience, for tuning in to this segment of Cibola Treasures. Without you, we could not have Ron here. So, Ron, I want to thank you for joining us today.
It was my pleasure.
Keep up this great work that you're doing in our community.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it very much.
You're quite welcome. And again, thank you for tuning in to this segment of Cibola Treasures, brought to you by Comcast and Seven Cities Productions.
Fast, reliable internet is here, and it's local.
Hi, I'm Mike Gonzalez, IT Director for the Village of Milan.
And I'm Robert Ramirez, the Computer Lab Moderator.
We have fiber optic service through Sacred Wind, and it has allowed us to create our computer lab.
Hi, I'm Amanda Valdez, and I am a teacher. Thinking of pursuing my master's degree, I knew that it couldn't have been possible before. Sacred Wind Internet made it possible to obtain my degree online.
Connect 66 Internet. Fast, reliable, and local. Powered by Sacred Wind, a name you know, a product you trust.
It's about putting others first. It's doing your best at whatever you do. It's all of these. It's commitment. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
I don't have very many heroes, but Stephen Curry is one of my heroes. He has made several comments that just really impress me. One is, train the mind and the body will follow. And that includes academics as well. Training your mind, you can become a scientist, you can become an airline pilot, you can become anything that you want when you train your mind, then the body will follow, even in athletics. And then I'm going to paraphrase this next one that he just recently said, and it's, think good things and good things will follow. So those are two quotes from Stephen Curry. I want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of Cibola Treasures. You are so special to us, and we just enjoy hearing from you. So if you've got comments or you want to make any additions to our programming, just let us know. We're at 285-4533, and our website is www.sevencitiesproductions.com. Thank you again for tuning in to this edition of Cibola Treasures, brought to you by Seven Cities Productions and Comcast.